Hello and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm Jane I can't even say my name. I'm Jane Mountrose, your host, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, who is a fellow coach and healer, Gretchen Comer. I'm so delighted that we're together. It's been a while since we've been together
It
on the
has.
circle.
I know it has.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
so this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm so excited also about our topic this week, which is holding the vision of a more unified world, or for a more united world, with both, whichever one. Um,
Works. Yeah.
and I think I've been thinking of this particularly being in the United States, and we have an election coming up, and there's so much division. And it's just really easy to take sides when the real solution to whatever it is that's happening lies in a place that's actually above all of that kind of fray of chattering that goes on. And it's very important, I think, for us to connect with the truth from a place of unity. So
Yeah.
it's a place where it's harmonious, and also something that's a goal for awakenings is it's a place where everyone is honored and nurtured. Whereas when we're in that place of division, it's like me versus you kind of. And it's not
Right.
really, it doesn't have to be that way. So anyhow, with that in mind, we want to offer some insights and support for the vibration of unity. And we're also going to, in the meditation, go into ancestral healing for the kinds of vibrations that hold us down personally from our ancestral lineage, and also understanding that when we clear these things for ourselves, we're providing a gift for humanity. We're helping to heal it for humanity. So
Yeah.
everything that we do to bring unity into our own lives is going to support unity on a larger scale. Anyhow, before we begin, I also want to thank everybody who is joining us here, whether you're live or maybe coming here at another time. Um, I want to get my chat dashboard up here so I can see, and I see that Babs is here. So she says, hello, Circle family. Happy to be with you today. And we're happy to have you with us, Babs. Um, anyhow, the circle is here every week, as many of you know, to help us to heal, grow, and stand as beacons of light for the world, which is, I think, really the greatest gift we can provide. So I also want to remind viewers to say hi and tell us where you're from if you're new to us, and feel free to comment. We appreciate your input too, that you're part of the circle too. One more thing before we start is just to take a moment to ground ourselves into this place. And if you can close your eyes and just breathe into the moment. I find it so interesting how much of a difference just taking a few nice breaths can make. Just breathing in love and light from the universe around us, and opening to being present to this time that we have together. That feels good. Okay, so with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Gretchen, and ask you to share a little bit about why this topic is relevant to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane. This is such a good topic, and I think it is really relevant for where we're at today in today's world. And so for me to really be able to hold that vision of a more united world, we need to think about what the united part means. For me, it means beginning to kind of let go of a competitive mindset, that
Yeah.
we are above other people or they are above us. When we begin to live on a non-competitive plane, or that the creative plane, as it's referred to, we begin to honor the individual, and we begin to honor their unique path in life. And when we do that and really see the individual for being an amazing soul like we all are, then we're removing those obstacles that keep us from being united, that keep us from being unified. If we can start to see everybody as a unique and amazing individual, and that there is no competition, we don't need to be
Right.
competitive
Yeah.
with them at all, that because we're all on our own unique path, we all have a different way of moving through life, and that's fine. And we need to find that way that works for us, that's also holding that love for your fellow man as well. So for me, it's like about being connected with other people as well. I think during the
Right.
pandemic, I noticed that I was getting not as in many social situations, and so, I feel like I changed. I moved away a little bit and was craving that connection with other people. And I think when we are more connected, we're going to get those different perspectives. We're going to start thinking about what else could be possible. We're also looking at opportunities and options, and that makes life richer and fuller for all of us, to be able to see those different perspectives. And when we do, that's where we're really recognizing the individuality of everybody, and we can become more united once we recognize that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a broad subject, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel like we need the connection, and we need to honor each other as unique individuals. And that's how
Right.
we're going to remove those obstacles that are keeping us from being so united as a human race,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. And I appreciate that you mentioned competitive mindset, because I think within
Mhm.
the idea of lack of unity, or which is really polarity,
Mhm.
somehow we feel like we're adversaries for someone or something. like
Right,
it's me against the world, or
right,
whatever that
right.
is. And by the way, I want to say hi to Sharon, who's with us, Sharon
Sharon.
Williamson, and Nikki.
Hi,
Welcome,
Nikki.
and thank you for being with us, and being contributions to a more united world.
Right.
Because I think this is what we feel in our hearts. We understand it in our hearts. And just we have to keep returning to that, because in our heads, that's where we get into those polarities, like it's me or you or us and them. And and I thought it was
Right, right.
interesting what you said about connecting with people, and I think is so true with the pandemic. Something I found over the years working when I worked as an architect, particularly, it's that there would be times when we would have disagreements or whatever. And the tendency then is to shut yourself off. And
Mhm.
what I found is if I just kept communicating with whoever those people or persons were, um, it kind of opens your heart again, and there is a way through it. There always is a
Right,
way through it.
right,
So it isn't doesn't have to be all of that esoteric even. It's really
right.
just
Yeah,
plain humanity and
right,
understanding who we really are. What is our essential nature? Our essential nature is not hatred and division and uh, competition, really. It's understanding, it's being creative and wanting to express ourselves, and to be able to embody the focus, the reason why we came here.
right.
you know the things that are
Right.
exciting for us in our lives, and the
Absolutely.
other stuff is all just static that actually brings us all down and keeps us kind of in a darker space.
Right, right. And you see evidence of that on our planet right now, with so much divisiveness in just our country. I don't want to get political, but I feel like there's,
Right.
there is a lot going on with that. And I think that it perpetuates that kind of low vibration energy of it's me against the world, and that it really narrows and limits your thinking and can narrow your belief system. And I think if we can just do things that help us let that go, just to honor ourselves as a unique individual and having a unique perspective, and honoring the people around us, will really help us to kind of soften that and open up to more of the higher vibrational energy of love, of compassion. And
Hmm.
that brings us to a much higher place where things are going to feel more possible. It's not going to feel like me against the world anymore. It's going to feel like I'm going to have support. And of course we have, guides and angels and support from God or goddess or source or whatever you call it. But we have that support too. It's not just the human support. So I feel like when we cut ourselves off from our human nature, or cut ourselves off from other humans, we're also kind of cutting out God, because we are
Right.
each divine beings as well. We have that divine spark within us. So the connection, I feel like, is really important. And whichever way is best for you to receive it, it might be online, like in a circle like this, or it might be in person, and that's up to you to discern. But just know that we're here every Sunday, and we can support people in that way too. Have more connection in this way. So yeah.
Yeah. And people say when they attend the circle that it feels so good. And there's the other part of us that wants to, that kind of says, well, not this time, whatever. Babs says, we're all from the same source, but we forget that. So we compete and judge.
Right.
And I think if you look at it energetically, that's really an important point. The way I look at polarities and society being polarized, it's like there's this or that. And there's even, I think it's interesting, there's even love and hate. Love, but that love at that level is conditional. And I often tell a story of one time I was watching the news. This was some years ago, and they were showing some Christians who were on a mission, or whatever they call it, to go to Bethlehem, to for whatever they do there. I'm not exactly sure what they
like
do.
A pilgrimage.
Yeah, some kind of a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and this woman was being she was talking to a reporter, and she was telling the reporter, well, gee, my minister recently told me that I should love the Jews. And ever since the minister told me that, I've loved them with all my heart. I thought, wait a minute. That's conditional. It's conditional on someone saying you should love them. If her minister then told her she should hate them, she probably would hate them.
Right.
So it is, but it's like you versus me. It's right versus wrong. And it's not always that straightforward. And as Babs was suggesting, we have to go to that higher place, and it is really that place in our hearts, the more soulful and also more intentional thinking kind of a place to ask, well, what else is possible? Like, okay, so it could be love or hate, on this conditional level. What else might it be? And then you take it up there and you say, well, it could be that understanding that we all are one because we're all one with the same God.
Right. It's
and
like
that understanding doesn't exist down here.
Right. It's like you have to free yourself from others' input on some level, so that you can discern it for yourself, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were talking, Gretchen and I were talking before the circle started this morning, something that we use in coaching and learned ourselves. I'm so grateful we did years ago, is that when we're in limited thinking, often it does seem like there are only two choices, kind of like, well, I could do this and I would die, or I could not do it and then I would just be repressed, or it's like as if those are the only two choices. But the creative part comes in, where we really enlist our creative spirit when we ask beyond that, what else might it be? Because it's often that third choice, or it might be even further down. There might be 3 more choices that you wouldn't think of, because you're in that polarized thinking. And I think all of us are subject to it.
Yeah, I think it's such a powerful question for me, and it's so simple. And even in the hardest times, when I feel like I'm really between a rock and a hard place, if I ask that and just stay open to the possibility that there is another option, then it's interesting. Then invariably one will come come to the surface and I'll
Right.
think
It
of it, you
does.
know.
Right.
It's really interesting when even in the situations where you think it's really like, you know, this way or that way and that's it, if you
Right.
just, okay, what's wrong if I just ask this right now and see what
Yeah, it
happens,
can't
you know?
hurt.
Can't hurt, right? I'm already faced with two decisions I don't want to make, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Or deciding between two things I don't want to decide between. And so, yeah, I think it's such a magical question. And I think if we can pause and do that, then we're going to find that there are a lot of other opportunities we might be missing, you know,
Mhm.
in life in general, and how we
Mhm.
perceive things and how we move through things. So, yeah,
Right.
it's a
Right.
powerful question.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we take time in our minds, or just by breathing, as we did when we started this, just breathing into our hearts and recognizing that we are all one, I think it is built into our potential. I think if you look at the power of being in nature, and I think so many people appreciate it without really quite understanding why having time in nature, it connects us with that kind of sense of oneness, where
Mhm.
and then all of the stress dissolves because it doesn't exist within the oneness.
Right. It's the creation energy that exists in nature. It's the possibilities, you know, with creation energy comes possibility and potential. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the quickest places we can observe that is just by going outdoors and immersing
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and just spending time in nature and
Right.
just noticing that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I'm a big proponent for being out in nature.
Right. Well, you are right in nature where
Yes,
you are.
exactly where I
You're
am.
very
Exactly.
fortunate. Yeah.
Exactly. We are very
Yeah.
fortunate. But yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that's, like I said, it's where you're going to find more potential. It's where you're going to find the possibilities that maybe you didn't consider. And
Mm-hmm.
if anything, it's going to bring you to a more relaxed state because of the
Right, it
natural
does.
energy that nature has, the natural
Right.
impact that it has on you holistically, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And that you don't actually have to go to nature. I think it's great if you
Hmm.
can, but maybe you
Right.
can't go to nature in this moment,
Right.
but you can imagine being there. We often do
Absolutely.
that process in here in the circle of imagining going to a lofty mountaintop and just
Yes.
having that beautiful panoramic vision of the world.
Right.
I mean, just talking about it for me, I feel
Yeah.
myself expanding and kind of letting go. It
Yeah.
feels really good.
They're like little mini soul vacations, you know,
Right.
just, yeah. You know, yeah. And then when I work with clients, in order to get in touch with nature, I often say, think of a wonderful vacation you took, because most people
Mm-hmm.
do
Right.
vacations that are outdoors. A lot of people do, or at least have some exposure to being outdoors. And I think people can really connect with that, you know, and it's a wonderful
Mm-hmm.
thing to recall that beautiful memory of being, you know, on this wonderful vacation. So yeah,
Yeah.
that really helps.
Right. Another thing I think that is often true of vacations and is true in nature is that there's beauty there. And I
Yeah.
think the beauty in itself enlists the soul. It's soulful,
Hmm.
like having beautiful things around you. Even I, I talk a lot about having beautiful things around me, how important I feel that is to me, because there's who is it who said the a thing of beauty is a joy forever? It was an English poet. I can't remember which one. But I think that's such a beautiful thing. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. And that poetry in itself, that can evoke the soul too. It evokes
Right.
that same kind of state of openness that we're
Right.
really looking for, because it's it's a contraction.
Hmm.
When we go into feeling like things are limited, we're contracting ourselves energetically. And if we can do
Hmm.
things that will help us to expand out, it can change everything. Which brings me, as often does, to selenite. This is something I love to have uh, for feeling good. Selenite in itself, it clears negative energy. It's a high vibrational stone. I find it very unique and wonderful. It also is very luminous, which I enjoy. Um, And just little things like that. I have all kinds of little shells and, and things, just little pieces. Like here's a little piece of abalone. I love the sparkle
Yeah,
in it.
I keep rose quartz on my desk for
Right.
love,
Yeah.
for the heart
Yeah. I
chakra and for love.
little like little here's a pretty little thing with stars. Just having things around us that we can tell by experiencing them that they feed the soul. Those
Right.
can bring us more to that place of unity. And then when we're feeling that energy, we are in a different reality, really.
Yeah, and those are easy things to do. These
Right.
are things
Very
that often
easy.
we already have, but maybe we don't, keep them out. Maybe we keep them in a box. Maybe we keep them stored away where maybe they should be out, impacting us on that positive level. Just keeping a
Yeah.
few things out on my
Here's
desk. Yeah.
another one. I love this one.
Trust the
A
journey. That's
pretty, isn't that
beautiful.
a beautiful?
Yeah,
I
that's
just think that's
beautiful.
so beautiful. I think I found it at a thrift store somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just
And those are
looking at it,
wonderful
it makes me happy.
reminders. Those are wonderful reminders. And I keep the rose quartz. I keep this little I think it's just a quartz crystal, but it's rose quartz. And I keep this on my desk because it reminds me to approach things with love in my heart. And if I have that one little reminder out, even in, I work at home. And so if I'm working at my desk, that's a good reminder. If I get
Hmm.
stressed out, that's something I can just walk away, or I can, hold this for a while, and it just helps remind me that I need to approach my day with more love, for myself and for others. So
Hmm.
sometimes those reminders are wonderful.
Hmm. And I see Lula is here with us, one of our other co-hosts.
Hey, Lula.
And she says, absolutely, nature is a great connection with creation.
Mm.
And she mentions having some health challenges, and the guidance with her health challenges was to spend time in nature.
Mm.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank
I
you
think
for
it
sharing
is,
that.
it
Yeah.
is anything that is life enhancing is good for our health, among other things.
Right.
And it
Right.
may not be the only thing, but it certainly is part of the recipe for health and wellness on all levels.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And another thing, uh, do you want to draw an oracle card? That's another thing
Sure.
that can lift our spirits. So we
Absolutely.
can draw an oracle card that will give us some insights on our topic today of creating a more united world.
Right. This is an interesting card. So this is from the Lightworker Oracle. This is by Alana Fairchild. And this one in particular is called Alchemical Mutation.
Wow.
It's a powerful card, but it's a
Uh-huh.
really interesting card because what it talks about is it talks about how our spiritual growth is constantly changing our perception. And so it's changing our mind, it's changing our body, it's changing our spirit or our soul. And it's going to help us fulfill our our ultimate path in life. And so this mutation happens often when we are consciously allowing more light to come into ourselves, and um it you can even see it sometimes as changing your body, or changing your perception. That mutation isn't a negative thing, it's something that is very positive. And as we continue to work with our spiritual paths, or our life paths, we actually let in more light. When we are
Right.
cultivating more love, when we are cultivating more joy in our life, and we're welcoming those energies in, we're actually bringing in more light, because those live in light frequency as well. And so part of that is taking care of ourselves. Part of that alchemical mutation, in order for the process to really work, it's about taking care of ourselves, getting rest, doing things that nurture us, keeping things like the rose quartz on your desk. Those are all parts of self-care. Those are
Mm-hmm.
things like your selenite heart. That's all part of keeping your energy vibration up, which is the ultimate goal of any kind of alchemy, is to burn away all the things that are no longer needed, so that what's left is that pure divine spark within us. It's that
Mm-hmm.
it's the pure love. It's unconditional, not only for ourselves but for others. And so if you're somebody that works with energy, a lot of times just doing a very basic spiritual cleansing will help. Using meditations that help align your heart and soul, or making that connection daily, finding things that uplift your energy, finding things that boost your energy. Because as long as we're in that higher vibration, we're not going to go into the polarity mindset either. We're going to be thinking about what that third or fourth or fifth option is, instead of it's got to be this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think part of that alchemical mutation that it's speaking of is really not only in our hands, for us as individuals, but it's about taking care of ourselves. It's about clearing our energy. It's about letting go of the things that we no longer need, and then finding ways to cultivate more love in our life, to bring more light into our life, and also to discern what is best for us as creative and amazing individuals.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
powerful card.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely
It
a
is.
powerful card.
Yeah. I'm really thrilled with that one. And it made me think too. I think something that I think some people don't realize is that we all have a default place we go to, and it may be kind of like oh, kind of like I'm okay, or maybe
Right.
it might be stress. Like this,
Mhm.
my life is so stressful, I can never catch up in some place like that. And it can go up, and that's part of the purpose of the circle. And what we're talking about is developing habits that are going to help us to keep our vibration up, to keep our spirits up, so
Yeah.
that we are in. And when you do that, you're in a more creative place. Because when we
Yeah.
look at that triangle with the polarities, if you're down here in the dumps in stress and anxiety and fear, and I'm not saying that, I mean, we all are there sometimes, but what we want to do is be able to get out of it, obviously,
Right.
is have a way.
Right.
And that's what Gretchen was talking about. Just have things you can do. Breathing, actually, just breathing can make a
Yes.
big difference.
Yes. Yes.
But it is
Absolutely.
developing the habit of keeping our spirits up that puts us in that place where then we start to default at a higher level. And that's what I think,
Oh,
that
that would be,
alchemical mutation idea, that's what it
yeah.
really is. Because that, in over time, that actually even influences the DNA.
Right. Absolutely. I was going to say, wouldn't it be wonderful to have that higher vibration become your new default? That would
Right,
be incredible,
right.
yeah, to have that and to be able to achieve that. And I think all these little things we've been talking about, actually help lead us to that place, and that'll help us balance our polarities as well, by
Hmm.
actively seeking ways to raise our vibration.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that was another one, having oracle cards and actually
Mhm.
taking some time in the morning, even if it's just 10 minutes, to gain some insights, to be in a
Mhm.
place, to open your heart and be in a place of receiving divine guidance. It's something I think Gretchen and, and I both do, and I think Lula
Yeah.
does, as far as I know. Which actually brings me, and this is another part of it, actually, what I was thinking for today, because I'm drawing now. I have a new oracle that I'm working with, just expanding my my vision a little even more. This is Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light Oracle. Do you have that one?
No, it's beautiful though. I like it.
It
I'm already attracted to it.
it's ascended masters and ascended beings. Having each card as an ascended being that you can connect with,
Nice.
and so yesterday I drew this card called White Eagle, um obviously an American Indian ascended master, and he is, it says, the ancestor spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. And I think part of this alchemical mutation, we have our own history, our past, that where there are things that have created trauma um, in our energy system that we're holding on to, and we also have it that we're in our DNA and in the cells of our body that comes from our family heritage.
Mhm.
And so with this card in mind, whoops, he's upside down now. Sorry. It's a beautiful, all of these cards are very beautiful and profound, and there's a lot of symbolism in each one. I'm really enjoying looking at them and using them. And I'm there's a name for it now, I can't remember what it is. But you can also draw another card to go into what the topic is. And this is just something, it's a general thing that you can do with oracles. So I'm drawing also, along with that, I'm drawing a card from the Major Arcana, a tarot card. And this is the deck that I often use, the Angel Wisdom Tarot. And the one I got with this is the Hermit, which is about spending time in peaceful meditation and meaningful solitude. I think that is very important. And some people, they get into meditation and they're told, well, you have to do all of these things. And I've known people who are spending hours every day on these spiritual practices. And I ask, well, does that connect you with the truth in your heart? And they say no. So I think the most important thing is to do something simple that will connect us with a sense of me, which is in the love in your heart. Right. And I thought this card, which also it relates to that alchemical mutation card too, is really critical to allow, even if it's a short amount of time. If you get up 10 minutes earlier just to do this, you're going to find that you have so much more energy that it's well worth it, because it's transformational in itself. When I first started to connect with the love in my heart every day, it completely changed my life.
Absolutely.
And another thing is, if you do that, you're going to find out from the truth in your heart how magnificent you are. Because we're part of, I think, the problem we have is that we're told that we have like, you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not this enough, or you don't look like this and that, or whatever it is. These things, they make us think that there's something wrong with us, when the truth is that is the illusion. And the alchemical mutation is going back to the to the simple truth that we're all magnificent. Spiritually, as spiritual beings.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Anyhow, did you want to say anything else before the meditation? It's fine if you have responses to all that.
I agree with you. I feel like, spending time, especially what the card is saying, I feel like that's an important part of our self-care. That's an important part of cleansing our spiritual energy. It's especially for people who are empathic and intuitive and sensitive. I feel like we can get overloaded with a lot of different energy from interactions with other people. And it's a tendency to want to kind of close down and go into a cave somewhere, where you don't have to deal with that, like kind of what you were mentioning earlier about being around people and, having that connection. And I think if we can take things or do things that help us clear that help us raise that vibration, we're going to be connecting with our soul and heart on a more on a daily basis. I think that's going to be really beneficial. So I just agree with everything you say, because I'm totally on the same wavelength right now. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you do that too. I think that
right. Yeah, I do something daily. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Just even, like I said, even a short amount of time, and then returning to it during the day. Like if you find yourself kind of veering off into a place you don't want to be, just take a moment to somehow, if you can go outside or just into a place where you can just close your eyes and breathe for a few minutes, just come back into your body. Because it is, the way I describe it sometimes is, it's kind of like we're in the moment or we're in momentum.
Right.
And a lot of times it's like the day is just kind of drawing us forward with momentum, which is not, when you're in momentum, you're not yourself, really.
Right. I think I've told you before, I put reminders in my phone. So if I'm working and it's a work day, I have reminders in my phone that check in about every hour and a half. Wow. That just says, how are you doing? So my phone will ask me,
Hi,
how are you
Gretchen.
doing? I know, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, and then I have to consciously stop for a minute, and that pause, because I'm looking at that question when it comes up on my phone, my alarm goes off. That pause actually is when I do take a breath and I think,
Mm-hmm.
how am I doing right now? And
Mm-hmm.
that immediately is shifting my thinking into something that's benefiting me, that's part of my self-care, and that's helping raise my vibration. And it's such a simple thing just to put in your phone. So I'd say
Right.
about four times during a workday, it'll ask me that. And that's good, because of that momentum that I am in. That's how I take one of my breaks. Is I take a drink of water, I get up, I move
Yeah.
around. If I'm sitting
Yeah.
for
Water's
hours.
good too.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So it was a simple thing just to have. I thought, well, I'll do my own check-in. I don't need somebody asking me that. I can put that in my
Yeah,
phone.
that's a great idea.
So
And Bab says our daily habits can set the trajectory of our lives. They do,
absolutely,
not
they
just can.
do.
They
They
do.
do. Exactly. Well said.
And Lula said, "Great idea, Gretchen. I'm going to use it." I like it too. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
And it is just having ways to remind ourselves.
Right. Right.
Okay, so now we're going to connect with beautiful ascended spirit white eagle and have a nice meditation. So this is going to be a meditation for clearing ancestral lineage. So we're going back on our timeline. I'm just providing an overview so you kind of have an idea of it, and clearing the lineage from our we're going to do just one for our whole ancestral lineage. You can come back to it and go to the maternal and paternal side, or just do it again. You can go back for anything in this way. This is actually fairly easy to do. And we're going to start with the same thing again, breathing in that beautiful love and light from the universe around us. And if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to do, because it helps to turn our focus inward. Just breathing in, inviting all of those beings of light who are there supporting us, just inviting them to surround us with that love and light that we can take in, so we can feel lighter with every breath. And as we exhale, just releasing anything you don't need right now, any tension you notice, or if you sense any kind of incoherent energy around you, any energy that is not quite what you want, just allowing it to flow down through your field into the earth, where it can be transformed back into light. Settling in. And we can ask any energy that's not our own to leave our space now with our intention, just sending it back where it came from. We pick up energy from other people and other places. Just send it back. We want to create space for as much of us as possible to be here now. We can also ask for any energy that we've left ourselves in other times and places that can come back. Just ask it to come back now. And you might feel that and feel like you're more present in your body. There's more of you here, which feels really good. And now I want to invite White Eagle to join us. Beautiful master. And we can ask him to surround us with some beautiful luminous golden light that's going to support us in clearing our ancestral lineage. It's a light of such beauty and brilliance that it fills each of us with great gratitude and appreciation for the unity that is the truth here. That we are all one with our source, with all that is, with God. And it's interesting when we are in a place where we can feel that truth, everything else seems to fall into place. So we want to carry that energy with us in this process, allowing it to touch every cell of your body with that vibration of unity and oneness. And it's love. Love at the highest level energetically is connectedness. It is the absence of separation. So we can just breathe in more of that into every cell. Our cells love love, they love unity. And notice how that feels. Also, knowing that it's touching every layer of your energy field, your emotional field, your mental field, your spiritual, and that you can expand your energy out. I mentioned earlier how we contract ourselves to fit in. This is your moment to just expand out and feel the fullness of who you are. Feels so good. So we can allow that to open our hearts even more, understanding that oneness that we have. And from this place of clarity, we can also make note of what is true for the masses of humanity, that often there is trauma and fear. There are heavy energies that hold humanity down and prevent it from raising to that place of unity. And often we hold some of that in our own ancestral lineage that's in the cells of our body and our DNA. So this is where White Eagle shines with that beautiful luminous light. And again, sensing his presence and knowing he's going to walk on this journey with us to the past, that he's going to be here to assist us with releasing this heaviness. So what we want to do now is imagine ourselves on our path, our spiritual path. So our future is laid out ahead of us. We can look out in the distance. And our past is laid out behind us, going way, way back, all the way back to our origin, theoretically. It's often felt that our ancestral lineage is affecting us back around 7 generations. And what we want to do is, with holding this understanding of unity, this vibration of unity, just imagine now that we can travel back through our ancestral lineage, back through 7 generations, however long it is for you, that you've been holding the pain, the stress, the trauma, that heavy energy of your ancestral lineage. Just imagine traveling back on your timeline now, back 7 generations or whatever feels right. And then from there, rising up above it. Imagine rising up above it with White Eagle. And again, focusing on that golden, luminous light with you and around you. And recognizing it as a misunderstanding on a massive level for humanity, that we hold on to this heaviness. But what we can do is take this luminous light and imagine going back, holding that, sending it back onto our timeline and sending it forward from the place where we're starting back 7 generations or wherever it is, sending that luminous golden light forward through our ancestral history, all the way up to present time, clearing out all of the heaviness, the stress, the trauma, everything that we can release today. Just coming forward in the sense of unity, holding that sense of unity back to the present moment. And opening to having that energy, that vibration from White Eagle, sending it into all of the cells of our body and our DNA itself, allowing it to experience that alchemical mutation that we were talking about. Because it is through these changes and how it affects our DNA and the cells of our body, the ability of ourselves to bring in more love and light. This is how it all changes for us. and for humanity as a whole. So the changes that we're making individually today are not just for ourselves. This is also affecting everyone else involved in our lineage, that we're contributing to bringing it all back to oneness, back to wholeness, the wholeness of who we are as beings who are one with God. And now we can further just send this light into the future. It's beautiful, luminous golden light, just sending it out into the future as far as you can see, even further over the horizon if you want. And feel that whole timeline, that past, present, future, how it can shift as we shift, as we release the heaviness that holds us down. I can't help but smile now. I feel so grateful. So this is a moment now before we return back to our normal state to just ask White Eagle for you if he has a message for you or a gift, something that you can carry with you. Somehow I'm seeing a white feather. Maybe he has a feather for you. Maybe he has some words of wisdom for you. Maybe he's telling you that he's always here for you, which he is. These masters, and it's like the archangels who we often work with here in the circle, they're available for us, but we have to ask for their support because we have free will. And White Eagle is here to help you to heal your past so you can move more easily forward toward the future. I want to again express my gratitude for his presence and all of the beautiful blessings he's brought to us. And prepare now to return to our normal waking states. Breathing in more active energy. We don't have to lose that sense of unity with God as we come to our normal waking states. We can bring that with us and just ground ourselves here in the moment, ground ourselves to beloved Mother Earth. Breathing in that energy of being more awake and alert. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I don't know what happened, but I feel like something there for me
Absolutely.
anyhow.
Me too. Absolutely. Something shifted.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. And this is something you can do again, and you can do it with any kind of wound that you are holding, just going back into the past. And it's because there is that moment of misunderstanding that happens. It's like when we're traumatized or something, we lose that connection with the oneness. So we can bring it back into that moment and forward into our present moment. And it is. I think that I love that we got that card, alchemical mutation, because it is that this is alchemy. This is transformation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was beautiful. I feel not only did I feel like a shift, but I also felt more connected, just more connected to source, more connected to my ancestors. It was really powerful. There was a lot of really strong imagery for me for that. And I felt like at one point I was, when you were suggesting that we're moving forward in the timeline, I felt like I was a snake going through a really tight little space, and I was shedding different skins as I moved through the different timelines. So it was really interesting and really vivid. So
Yeah.
really vivid. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it just was.
It's good.
Well, it just felt very powerful to me. I'm not sure what happened, but I'll ask him later. And I did feel such a strong presence from White Eagle. Very beautiful, very gentle, grounding.
Yes. Yes, yes, very much so.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
that card came from this beautiful deck.
Keepers of the light.
You can, I think you could even look up, if you look up White Eagle, Keepers of the White Light, Keepers of the Light, you might end up with a description. I think there are, you find descriptions for a lot of the cards in these decks right on Google. So, okay, so again, this is this is how we change the world. I've had other experiences where the beings of light around me have told me that this is not just for me, this is for humanity. When we make these powerful changes for ourselves, it is a contribution for everyone. Because it is that there is, well, I talked about the default vibration. There's one for humanity and probably one for every area, you know, your city, your state, your country.
Sure.
And each of us individually, as we raise our vibration, we're helping to raise the default. And that's really the point. The whole point of this is that we can help to create the change. This is not abstract or, gee, it's kind of fluffy love and light stuff. This is actually the best way to accomplish what we need to accomplish here.
Right, I agree, and I think we need to remind ourselves too that as we change ourselves, we're actually changing the world. You know,
Exactly.
It's having an impact when we consciously change things inside of us. We are actually changing the world, and we do have an impact on the world. You know,
right? Yeah, and I think that was thinking of unity today. I was thinking of it because of what's happening in the United States and the choices that we're all making in our votes coming up now and all the way up until election day, that if we can bring that energy of unity into it and the energy of love, where there's so much division and hatred,
absolutely,
it can make a difference.
I don't know if we have a moment, but with this card, alchemical mutation has a beautiful prayer at the end, and I just wanted to read it because I think it's really relevant for what we're talking about. It says, "I call upon the beings that love me unconditionally and ask for divine grace, protection, information, assistance, intervention, and healing in all ways now as I change alchemically. May my body and mind be supported and recover with divine assistance. I celebrate the alchemy that the light creates, and with kindness, I allow for it to unfold in my body, mind, and soul according to the guiding hand of divine love. May all those on the path of love and light be assisted to walk their path, which is with as much joy and as little suffering as possible, through my own free will and divine grace, so be it." I love that last line. May all those on the path of love and light be assisted to walk their path, which is with as much joy and as little suffering as possible. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is very beautiful. And I think one thing about some of these oracles, the other one I mentioned, this, I'll show you this one. This Angel Wisdom Tarot, I've separated out the major arcana, and each of the major arcana cards introduces one of the archangels. So you can draw one of them with an intention in your morning meditation and connect with an archangel who wants to support you. They want to support us.
Right, absolutely.
Right. And it just, again, as I mentioned, we have to ask them, but they're always here.
Yeah.
And they're doing, they're kind of nudging
sure, yeah,
as much as they can. But if we openly invite them to support us, then we get a lot more from them. And their energies are just amazing. I thought White Eagle's energy was just very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Yeah. Agreed.
He's looking at me right now. And that's another thing I have a a little place where I can keep, I have both of these cards that I mentioned displayed here. They're right in front of me all day until I go to until I do my next reading and then get someone else. And sometimes I'll stay with them for a few days, not necessarily. I think it's not like you need an angel or a master every day. I think to me, the most important thing is to have that experience and to feel it and feel that you are ready to move on. I think Lula has said I think she has said she even stays with them maybe for a week or two.
Yeah, I think what happens to me is if I choose too frequently, I just keep getting the same card.
Yeah,
so it's
right.
interesting how the universe, does that. So I thought,
Right.
okay, this is what I need to stay with right now. So
right. And you're starting with an intention, like I want insights. Here we wanted insights on unity. You want
Right.
insights on something, and you want to make sure that whatever the message is, that you're actually getting it. Because if you're not getting it, it's kind of like you're saying, they can't move you on because you
Right.
didn't get the last one.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, so, and I see we've gotten a couple more. Bab said, thank you, so meaningful. And Nikki said, me too. So thank you both.
Thank you both.
Yes. And I know, Gretchen, you were mentioning before we started that you and Lula had something you were doing. I was wondering if you can tell us whatever you want about how people might connect with you. That sounded like a wonderful thing you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. We're doing something called Wisdom Wednesday. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific time and it's at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And we're doing it every Wednesday on Instagram at Lula_Mora. And Lula's doing it through her account, and only because I'm new to Instagram. But I'm learning. We're learning a lot as we go. And so it's live. You can tune in. You don't have to be right there at the beginning if you don't want to be. If you're, on the East Coast, I know 5 o'clock is a time a lot of people get off work, but we're saying just take an afternoon break with us. Just take an afternoon break. And if we are offering to do, so we pick topics, and we also have discussions about relevant things both in our lives as well as spiritual topics. And of course, we're offering support and guidance, as well as choosing oracle cards for anyone who would like to have a general reading while they're tuning in with us. And so we're offering support, and it's just a way to kind of boost your energy on Wednesday. Wednesday is kind of like that, a lot of people call it hump day, and it's kind of like that middle of the work week. It's just a good way to get a boost in the afternoon and just change your day, change your vibration, change your day.
Right.
And so, we would love for people to join us. And people can also find me at spiraljourney.net. That's my website. And that's where there's a comprehensive listing of all the services that we provide. And of course, we do holistic services, and I'm also a coach and a healer. And so people can connect with me on Facebook at Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services, or you can just connect with me through Gretchen Comer, my own account. And I love connecting with
you can be Gretchen's friend.
Yeah, exactly. Follow, like, whatever you'd like to do. And on Instagram, I'm actually Spiral Journey Gretchen, because there must have been a lot of Gretchen Comers. So I'm Spiral Journey Gretchen, and you can connect with me that way as well. So we'd love to see you on Wednesday or hear from you on Wednesday. Tune in.
Sounds great. Another opportunity to lift your spirits. And
exactly.
And again,
it's free.
the more we can do that, the better it makes it easier to hold on to that higher vibrational energy.
Absolutely.
It's transformational.
And we have fun. We have a good time. We're both coaches. And so, Lula is about transformation and I'm about empowerment. And so it's a great mix to get your heart lifted a little bit during the day. So
Did you say Sunny? Did you say Sunny?
Sunny tunes in. No, Sunny tunes in. So she's there.
In.
She's there on Wednesday as one of the people tuning in. So we appreciate that. Yeah.
Another one of our friends who actually will be joining us, I think, in the circle here coming up soon. She just moved, so she's in that process, and then she'll be joining us here. So thank you, Gretchen. And for Awakenings Institute, we have a free resource kit that's designed for light workers, spiritual healers, and way showers. It has something we call the Happy Tab with EFT, some things you can read, and other spiritual resources. you can get that at tinyurl.com/spiritual kit. Our website is big, so it's very hard to find things, but you could also, if you just want to go directly to our website, it's gettingthrough.org, which is gettingthrough.org/holistic. I'm not sure that it offers that kit there or not, but it might. But from there you can, it's a very big website. There are all kinds of things we offer and things you can look up. We also just completed an ebook we call The Solution, which is make a difference and change the world with the power of love. It's a book. It's a small ebook that's designed to share for free. It's a free book to share for free with people, to get the message out and help people to understand the benefits on all levels. It's good for your health. It's good for everything. And that's tinyurl.com/444. That's the number 4 3 times -solution, 444-solution. You can also find out more about the circle at circleofloveandlight.org. Oh, and the final thing we talk about is how to support the circle. You can like our page, or I think you can follow our page. I'm not sure, but I can't tell exactly because it doesn't give us the same options since it's our page. You can also, if you go to our page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/awakenings circle, you can share this video with your friends. You can invite your friends to join you in the circle. And of course, there's always the opportunity when you do to comment and to contribute. So thank you for joining us. The last thing we do is send all that love and light forward. We already sent a bunch. We can send a little more love and light forward into the coming week, knowing that that's going to be there in every moment we choose to remember it. When we send those, we set reminders for ourselves to remember. So again, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful week.